Hi, I have two kayaks. I have a Hobie Outback. It's my primary kayak. I consider it the Cadillac of kayaks. I have a Nucanoe Flint, and it's my backup kayak. These two kayaks are extremely different. They both have some advantages and disadvantages, and you choose one or the other depending on what you wanted to do. For example, the Hobie is more comfortable, it's better equipped, it's obviously easier to power with the Mirage drive system. However, it's much heavier, longer, and more difficult to transport. I cannot lift the Hobie by myself and have to use a cart to it from garage to truck. I pretty much restrict my trips to boat ramp access only due to the hassles of the cart. Unloading and loading of the Hobie on a boat ramp is a breeze, however. The Flint is easy for me to lift alone. I don't need the pickup bed extender. It's got this seat, and I added a little swivel on the bottom to be able to move it in 360 degrees. I think that's just awesome. I can just toss this in the back of the truck and forget about it for any short distances. If I just want to do a quick, spontaneous kayak trip, I'll load the Flint and go. The Hobie is going to require significantly more prep time. I love the fact that the Flint is basically just a seat and nothing else. It's very customizable. It also has a great rail system. Like I said, depending on the situation, it is an awesome kayak. And here's a closer look at the Outback, just showing the back compartment where the seat is in the middle. We've got a really nice seat, amazing seat, and the Mirage drive system, and a nice big compartment in the front. Now the reason I made this video is to discuss stability for these two kayaks. The Hobie is very stable. The Nucanoe Flint is not stable at all. The Hobie weighs 103 pounds unloaded. It's 12 feet 9 inches long, it's 34 inches wide, and it has a capacity of 425 pounds. The Nucanoe Flint, however, is only 11 feet 3 inches long, 33 inches wide, 63 pounds in weight, and 375 pounds in capacity. Now that doesn't seem like much of a difference in dimensions, but when I'm on the water, it's a night and day difference. I think it's partly due to the high seat on the Nucanoe. Again, I made that swivel mount, which added a couple inches of height to the seat. It puts the center of gravity up higher, but mainly I think it's the 40 pounds in different weight of the Hobie. I think the heavier Hobie, 103 pounds versus 63 pounds, makes a big difference on the water. Either way, when I got the Nucanoe Flint on the water for the first time, I instantly realized that I'm probably going to end up in the water if I don't put on some outriggers. So I decided to purchase some outriggers. I bought these Scotty brand stabilizers. I looked at all the ones on the market and including do-it-yourself outriggers, and I decided to pay $220 for these. I think they're very high quality. They're inflatable, which makes them very nice. They're on these nice support bars that are highly adjustable. You can adjust them basically 360 degrees up and down however you want. The attachments that go on the boat have these fishing rod holders. But when you look at the mount that comes with the outriggers and you look at the canoe, the Flint specifically, you can see there is no tolerance there for attaching these mounts to the canoe. I mean, it's almost impossible to get these attached, and that requires you to have to drill holes in your kayak. I personally don't want to add any holes anywhere in a boat. I think you're just asking for trouble. And you can see no matter where you try to find a place on this kayak, it's just not feasible. These mounts just are too wide for the sides of the boat. And if you try to put them inside, I mean, the walls of the boat are too high. So where do you put them? Nowhere. That's my personal thought. So I'm going to build a custom support frame for my outriggers. I didn't get video of me assembling every piece of this support base, but this is it in final form other than sanding. What it is a 3.5 inch by 21 1/2 inch length, 3/4 inch piece of pine, and then I took some 2x4s, which are exactly 1.5 inch thick by 4.5 inches long by 2 inches wide, and mounted those together. I used a 1/4 inch drill bit to drill the holes on the sides for my machine screws for the mighty bolts. These are the caps that I used. They are 1/4 inch 20 thread Everbuilt cap nuts, stainless steel. Use these 1/4 inch lock washers and these 1/4 inch regular stainless steel washers. And these mighty bolt, these are 1.5 inch long with a 1/2 inch head, sold by Yak Attack. Very good quality. I didn't say it earlier, but I have three 3-inch spack screws on either side of this base to hold the 2x4s to the 3/4 inch flat part. And then, as you can see here, it's just a perfect fit here at the back of this Nucanoe rail. This little ring right here is in front of it, and it rests up against this plastic bump up right there. So it's a really good spot for it. With the access to the back of the rails with the seat in front, it makes it really easy to put these mighty bolts in. You just slide them into the back of the rail right here, 2 on each side. And this is what it looks like with the block resting in the boat with the screws going through the block. You can see it's a firm stop right there against that plastic uplift. And this leaves plenty of room for the lock washers and the nuts. See, you can't use these black things that come with the mighty bolts, so I decided to use the cap nuts. Plus, I think these cap nuts are more secure. So you just lay these flat washers on, then a lock washer, and then the cap nut. Screw it in with your hand. Once all the cap nuts are hand tight, then I used a size 11 wrench to get them nice and tight so there's not going to be any vibration or looseness whenever the outriggers, the stabilizers are resting on the water. Doesn't require too many more rounds of tightening to get them really cinched up tight. And here again are the Scotty stabilizers. Good close-up shot of the stabilizers themselves with the rod holders. And attaching the stabilizer to the support block. You just press it in a little bit and it's locked in. This is how it looks with both stabilizers mounted on the block. You can see with my swivel chair, I can turn this completely around without interfering with the block or the rod holders, so that's good. And then I can wiggle this boat a little bit. You can see how the stabilizers flex, but still very solid. Alright, I just need to stain the wood now. This is the wood stain I used, the ebony minwax stain. This is how it looks after one coat of stain. This is the final product here, mounted into the Nucanoe Flint with both stabilizers attached. With the stabilizers, you can raise them to almost any level you want or lower them into any level, and then you can rotate them forward and back as needed. Now the Hobie does not need stabilizers. This is me in a nearby lake, and you can see some decent sized waves. They're coming up over the bow. I don't think the Hobie needs stabilizers, but let's just say I go out on the ocean and I see some ocean type waves. I'm going to go ahead and install stabilizers on this just since I can. The stabilizers come with their own mount, but if you need to install them on another boat, you're going to need these 241 model Scotty mounts. I went ahead and bought some 1-inch screws to go along with them. These are size 14 thread, you can see here, and they're stainless steel. I also inserted these grooves instead of just a regular screw hole, and I tapered the edge to match the dimensions of the boat. The grooves don't look great, but they serve a purpose. You can tell that the Hobie kayak has a tapered rail, so if I would have just made a single hole for the screws, it wouldn't be able to slide forward and back. So the reason I put those grooves in there was that you could run the support base up and down that entire length of the rail so that it fits up front and it fits in the back, no matter where you want it. You just have to untighten the screws, slide it forward, and then retighten them back up. And this is how the base looks, fully assembled, stained. Everything's ready except for the stabilizers to be mounted on both sides. Here I've attached one of the stabilizers to the right side. You can see it looks really good, nice and stable. That's natural flex in the mount itself. It's perfectly normal, so it hits waves and doesn't break off. I think we're ready for a test run. I keep my kayaks stacked on top of each other just to save space. It's pretty easy to take this Nucanoe off and put it on the ground so I can move the Hobie out to the driveway. Like I said, the Nucanoe Flint's only 63 pounds, so it's pretty easy to handle for myself. And then the 100-pound Hobie, I just wheel out on this C-Tug, and it works really well. I'm very impressed with the C-Tug, so I recommend buying one if you don't have one. And I also use this T-bone bed extender. I think this thing is really well made as well. So a lot of aluminum, and I think it just is an awesome little contraption. It has the back part that you can slide in and out, and it hooks to your hitch. These two posts are removable. You just screw them in and out. They've got the same kind of sliding head that the Mighty Bolts have. You run this into your hitch, lock it in place, and now you're ready to load your kayak. This bed extender is also very strong. You see it in their commercial, but I've tested it myself. You can hop right on this thing. It will support a 180-pound man easy. You see how I just hopped on that and then got on my truck bed, so it's really nicely made. I pull my truck out onto the street just so I can get over the hump that's in my driveway. It's a pretty steep decline. Raise the kayak up over the bed extender and then go to the front of the kayak and just kind of push it forward, slide it into the bed. It works really nicely. Once you get the C-Tug against the bed extender, you're going to have to either take off the C-Tug or just lift it over and continue sliding forward. I took mine off because I won't need it at the boat ramp. I have some tightening straps here. I've made some webbing just to make the hook a little bit easier to hold on to that bar on the kayak, and just run that through and cinch it up, and it holds the kayak perfectly in place. Very secure. Give it a nice shake test. See, it's rocking the truck as much as it is the kayak, so it's really solid. And it's not even touching the bed extender. It's just so secure in there. Now to get the Flint, I just load the Flint on top of the Hobie. It's just like it's stored in the garage. And I gotta say, the handles on the side of this kayak don't look like much, but they will support the entire kayak, so I'm impressed. Just pick up the kayak on top of the Hobie and slide it all the way forward with the backs of both kayaks facing the same direction. Works pretty well in my pickup. And that's a F-150, just so you know. I have another strap that I just run from one of the hooks on the side of the truck up through the seat post in the Flint and then back down the other side, loop it around and cinch it up tight. And then I have these two bungee cords that I wrap around the bed extender and they hold the front end. And here we are at the Colorado River. Unloading the two kayaks. I don't have the whole video, but you basically just slide this Flint off into the water with the truck on the boat ramp. Then once it's off, you can slide the Hobie out beside it. And I've got some paracord that helps keep them close to the truck while I maneuver the two kayaks away from the truck and move it to the side of the ramp and then pull the truck forward. And then I'm ready to get in the kayak. So it's a pretty simple process. And here's the Hobie Outback just being pedaled around while I get the Flint ready to go. The Hobie pedal drive is just awesome. I just love it. It's so easy to use. All right, test number 1, the Nucanoe Flint without stabilizers. I have to admit, I fear for my life when I'm on this kayak without the stabilizers. Just rocking this back and forth, I feel like I'm going in at any second. You can stand on this kayak without the stabilizers. I mean, it's not impossible, but you do feel insecure. So I would not recommend using this kayak without stabilizers, especially if you've got some expensive equipment or your wallet, cell phone, whatever it may be, or cold water. But you can see how easy I've attached the stabilizers. I've used one hand to attach them to the base support that I made. And once you get them in there, it is a completely different experience. Like, it feels really secure. I'm very happy with these Scotty stabilizers, and I would put this anywhere now that it's got these on here. I can stand, it's no issue at all. I mean, it does wobble, but you feel completely different when you have these stabilizers on. My swivel seat, I just love this too. Now I'm facing backwards on the kayak. I can paddle facing backwards, I can paddle facing forwards. It's just a really nice add-on if you have the Flint. Add that 360 seat post, it's great. Turning around facing forward again, I'm just gonna rock this as hard as I can. Like, it's not gonna give. I am not going in the water after I have these attached. Again, just using basically one hand, I can pull the stabilizer back off. And because they're right behind the seat, it's very convenient to access there. One hand removal. And one more test without the stabilizers. Again, I'm wobbling back and forth. I feel very insecure at this point. I would not want to use this kayak without the stabilizers. A boat was coming by, so I thought I'd give you all a look at how the Flint acts with the stabilizers and some small boat waves coming across. You can see I can still stand. I feel very comfortable, very secure standing on this kayak even while some boat waves are rocking me. Test number 3, the Hobie Outback without stabilizers. Now, I've said this before, but the Hobie Outback feels very secure without stabilizers. I have no issue standing on the Hobie, turning around, doing anything I want in this with any waves. I feel very comfortable and secure in this kayak without them. But I built the stabilizer bar, and so I'm going to use them anyway. Considering the bar is a little farther back in the kayak, you can see I had to twist around and get on my knees on the seat to do the installation. But once they're on, it does feel even more secure. So giving this a good bounce back and forth while I'm standing, just no issues at all. And here I'm just wobbling the kayak back and forth, the stabilizers. It feels very soft. Just one final comment on the Flint. If you do have the stabilizers on there, you are going to be hitting them with your paddle. I mean, they are a little bit in the way, and that's just the disadvantage of using the Flint with the stabilizers. But I think it's worth it. I would definitely recommend anyone add these stabilizers to the Flint and build the. I hope you enjoyed this video and look forward to seeing you on my next one. Thank you.